Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day. Katt Williams made an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience.
What's up?
How are you?
I can't believe we never met each other until today. That's kind of crazy.
It's really weird.
It's kind of crazy. It was always like at the store, they're like, Katt was here last night. I'm like, fuck. It was always two ships in the night.
Right. I would see you and not be able to get to you. Like, comedy is small, but only if you're mediocre. It's big. It's a vast, vast place.
It's vast and it's also small because there's so few of us. And worldwide, we were talking about this the other day. There's maybe 500 of us on the planet. You know, you got to be real generous and say 500 because it's really probably about 250.
Right.
But like legit comics, guys you want to hang out with, guys who are fun.
Your number's going down.
Your number's going down.
Your number's going down.
Guys he'd recommend, leave your house, get a babysitter. The number's going down. There's not a lot of people.
Right.
You think about the billions and billions of people on the planet, there's a little smidgen of us.
Yes. Much awaited. You know, a follow-up to Katt. Katt Williams was on the Club Shay Shay. Hello, my name is Shay Shay of Club Shay Shay. Today we have a guest, Katt Williams, multi-talented, award-winning comedian, Emmy winner, Emmy nominated. Katt Williams, Club Shay Shay. They broke the internet January 2024. And during that interview, Katt Williams got on there and was saying some pretty controversial things about Joe Rogan and the Joe Rogan Experience. You know, he was saying things like, Joe Rogan, he don't want me on there. He be putting on the same six motherfuckers that ain't ever been funny. Talking shit about Joe Rogan sphere and different comedians in that element. So, Joe Rogan had responded saying he loves Katt Williams, and if Katt Williams wants to come on the show, he can make it happen. They did. It was very interesting. My verdict off the top, what I generally think, Katt overreacted to Joe's tardiness, forgetfulness regarding the invite. Katt overreacted. Joe forgot. Joe was late. Joe failed to send out an invitation to Katt Williams to be on the Joe Rogan Experience, JRE. So Katt overreacted. But Katt had a point, because it's pretty public knowledge that Joe Rogan only puts on guests that Joe Rogan wants to personally hear from. And it's like the premier spot as a comedian, as anybody in entertainment. The Joe Rogan Experience is the premier spot to be, just in terms of media interview. So we all know that Joe personally invites his guests. Well, I don't know if he personally does. That's the thing too as well. We don't entirely know how the show gets booked, but generally speaking, shows reach out for guests. And Joe only speaks to people he wants to speak to. So it's like, what? Are you supposed to just call him up and be like, hey, Joe, I want to be on the show? Oh, yeah, sure. Whenever you want, buddy, come on down. Like, is anybody able to do that? No, you have to be invited. Correct? Joe made that public. That's part of the advertisement of the Joe Rogan Experience. Show's been going on for like a decade plus now or something at this point, right? Over 2,000 plus interviews. Finally, we get around to Katt. So we do see Katt's point. At least I do. Though Katt overreacted. I mean, come on. Is it a crime? I mean, come on, Katt. Is it really a crime to like have friends that you find funny and you put them on your show and you interview the people you want to interview? Is it really a crime? And something interesting happened during the Katt Williams interview on Joe Rogan Experience. Right out the gate, Joe, the first minutes of the podcast, Joe goes, oh, Katt, it's so great to see you. So great to have you. Right? How come we never met? How come we never met? It's like we're two ships passing in the night. We missed each other. I show up at the comedy club. I show up at, the Comedy Store. They're telling me Katt was just here. Oh, we're missing each other. Katt goes, Joe Rogan, I always tried to get through to you, but I could never get to you. To which Joe doesn't respond. Now, it was in the opening minutes. It was sort of a ominous reply from Katt Williams. And then he also kind of tagged it with a bit of a joke. The comedy world is very small to the mediocre, but very vast to the exceptional. So he was basically bigging up Joe, saying that, Joe is very vast and wide-reaching in his comedy and in his, prowess as a comedian, as a podcaster. So he was bigging Joe up a little bit, but it was a very interesting passing comment.
How are you?
I can't believe we never met each other until today. That's kind of crazy.
It's really weird.
It's kind of crazy. It was always like at the store, they're like, Katt was here last night. I'm like, fuck. It was always two ships in the night.
Right. I would see you and not be able to get to you. Like, comedy is small, but only if you're mediocre. It's big. It's a vast, vast place.
It's vast and it's also small because there's so few of us.
Because, and right off the top and right to Joe's face, I mean, I ain't trying to get too beefy here, but like, think about it. Joe goes, how crazy is it that we haven't met, Katt? Considering all the, that's what he says. How crazy is it that we haven't met? And Katt goes, I tried to get through to you, Joe, but I could never get to you. Comedy is small for the mediocre, but vast for the exceptional. He says something along those lines, and then Joe just kind of let it go. So, off the top, Katt kind of put his point right in Joe's face. Did it in a friendly way, but he put his point right in Joe's face. Like, you're acting like as if we had no opportunity to meet each other, but I tried to meet you and I couldn't get through to you. And that's sort of what the whole call out was about to begin with, right? Joe Rogan don't want me there. He be putting on the same 6 niggas that ain't never been funny. Called him out that Joe didn't want him there. He wouldn't put him on. Then Joe goes, oh, it's crazy that we've never met. Then Katt goes, I tried to meet you, but I could never get to you. But then again, so basically, Joe doesn't say anything. And to me, that is a business technique. Because it's like, you're playing dumb. And, hey, all respect to Joe Rogan. The Joe Rogan Experience is Joe Rogan's business. He makes multi-million dollars from that show. It's his show. It's his baby. He can run it however he wants. So the fact that he didn't have Katt on was what I said to begin with was, hey, it was not his fault to begin with. If he doesn't have you on, he doesn't have you on. It's his choice. It's his show. It's his business, multi-million dollar business. So it's like, if he doesn't want you on, then you're not on. End of story. So Joe didn't do anything wrong. But it is interesting. It is interesting that Katt said that and then Joe didn't respond. And, he played dumb, basically. and which is a business tactic. It's a smart business tactic when you don't really want to engage fully. Because in my mind, the next question would be, oh, what do you mean by that? Joe says, oh, it's crazy that we've never met. Katt goes, I tried to meet you. I tried to get to you, but I tried to reach you, but I could never get to you. The next question would obviously be, well, what does that mean? What? But it was in the opening minutes of the podcast. It was kind of tagged with some praise, you know. Katt followed up that statement with, you know, I tried to reach you, but I could never get to you. Comedy is small for the mediocre, but vast for the exceptional. So there was never really a chance for a full flushing out of that comment, but it was a strange comment, and Joe didn't respond. And that kind of goes to a lot of what the whole Katt Williams story has been. People are always saying about him, say what you want about Katt Williams, but no one's saying that he's lying. Ain't no one saying he's lying. So, he kind of made his comment to Joe, and Joe didn't say he was lying. Joe didn't say anything. He just kind of carried on with the conversation. Though the tail end of that would be that
Katt Williams, thank you for being here, man. This was a lot of fun. Glad we finally did it.
Me, Joe. You're a
glad I finally met you.
Yeah, me too.
I appreciate you very much, man. And we talk well about you all the time. I think you're one of the best comics of all time. And I think you're a fucking animal, man. You get after it in a way that, like, the energy that you have, I appreciate you very much. Very much. So it was a lot of fun.
Likewise.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
You know, towards the end, at the end of the podcast, Joe looks at Katt and goes, what does he say? He says, Katt Williams, thank you very much for being here. I only had nothing but good things to say about you. Nothing but good things to say about you. So, you know, he put his stamp on the conversation, I would say. So it opened with Katt saying, I tried to reach you, but I could never get to you. And they laughed it off and continued. And then it ended with Joe saying, thank you for being here. I have nothing but respect for you, and I've always spoken good about you. So they both made their point to each other, face to face like men. They both made their point. They did the podcast. And hopefully this is the start of a beautiful relationship, a beautiful friendship.